Good morning. And we'll call the Board of Mayor and Alderman work session for January the 4th, 2024 to order. Are there any public comments this morning? Seeing no one, we'll move forward with approval of the minutes. Board, in your package, you have the work session minutes for the December 7th meeting. Are there any corrections on these minutes? Hearing none, the minutes will stand as written. We have no requests for actions, and we're going to move on to, let me make one announcement or a couple of announcements here. There is a change to the agenda. In the Public Works Department, we are going to add the overage on the William D. Jones project, and Director Plunkett will speak to this if we have any questions, and also Director Garner because it relates to the funding on that. Also, under item G, we're going to remove number 2. That item has been taken care of previously. And also under item H, administration, number 10, that's Croy Engineering, the additional bid service on sidewalk project that has been taken care of previously. So,
And let me, for number 10, we're going to bring that through committee.
through the committee.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So that'll be coming back to you on your committee reports later on. Now, we will move to the department reports, and first up, we have Director Eddie Plunkett for Public Works.
Thank you, Mayor. The update on the intersection out here, I still haven't got with the 2 contractors in town to try to get those stripes removed, but I will be doing that in the next few days. The bond fund, A, B, and C, we've met on this. Finance director is going to redo those spreadsheets so they're easier to read, and we'll be bearing that through the February meeting cycle. Software, we have software to shop for, got 2 different sets of computer systems to check vehicles with. This one is for the big trucks. It's a yearly. I took it out of the budget. One of them we renew every 3 years, one is every year. I forgot about the one being renewed every year, so I took it out of the budget, and that was my mistake. So we need to add that back into the budget.
So, we carrying that back?
Through finance.
Are we carrying it back through
Carry it all
finance, or
back.
we carrying it to, I guess we're carrying
Do
it.
you have a finance meeting between now and board meeting?
No.
Well,
Yes, we carry it straight to the board meeting.
because this was due December the 31st.
Okay. So we need to carry that to the, using that, okay.
This would be a budget amendment,
Yes,
adding this back.
yes. Well, it looks like.
It's approved.
Is there anything in the public works budget that could swap for this without amending?
Not right now. Because this is in the street department. I mean, in the shop, and their budget's very
In the
limited.
garage?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
You take it out of the bond issue if you want to.
yeah, that'd be a better idea.
If we want to take it out of the bond issue, we
We gotta
can.
be careful.
Still got money in the bond issue.
Right,
You
we're
talking about
told
200?
this 2,000,
No, but how much is left in that bond?
30,000, isn't it? What left in the bond issue?
Yeah.
That's what we're working on.
A little
We don't know
better.
for sure right now.
It does?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's a good idea. I like that idea.
We still need to vote on it, though.
Yes.
Curb at the Methodist Church, if you go down Edison Street, once you get to the top of the hill and start over, the curb stops right there. We had an old extruded curb there, and trucks coming out of those alleys behind the west side of the square, or the west side over here. Broke the curb up, and the water now is coming off the hill and running off on church property. and it's causing a washout down to the church's property. Kerber's giving me a price of $8,000 to put the curb back in, or not back in, but put a curb in and put it in like it's supposed to be instead of an extruded curb just sitting on top of the asphalt. And you have their price there for that.
What about keeping trucks off of it? Is the truck still going to hit it when they turn or whatever?
Yeah, but this will be a regular curb. It won't be something just sitting on, like an extruded curb, you just set it
No.
on top of the asphalt. This will have a footing and gutter, be a little wider, and should not be a problem.
Now, this is kind of behind Fayetteville Antique Mall, that part by the church, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Is this the same one that was looked at before?
No, ma'am.
No, okay.
We never addressed this one before.
There's that parlor 127 right there on the corner of that alley. It's that last building going north, and then you turn into the alley by the Methodist Church and come up behind.
I don't know the name of the store, but it's Edison Street,
Yeah.
turns up there between those buildings and the church there.
And it comes out by the old Sirs lot.
Correct.
Okay. Yeah, that is pretty bad there.
It's getting deep.
It is.
This will be a budget amendment as well?
Yes, ma'am.
I suggest that whatever's in that bond issue that's left has not been allocated to something, take a look at it. And if it's in there, pull it out of the bond.
I agree.
Well, we talked about spending that money and, you know.
Well, that and also, and spending down that American Rescue Funding too.
Right.
Quickly.
We still got a lot of money down the line here too.
And the other thing that was just added, Kirby's give us an estimated bid of $100,000 to do the bridge on William D. Jones. It's gonna be somewhere in the neighborhood of 20,000 over. Still, we ain't got the rock out for that.
It's already been paid. So
They're
this,
paid.
yes, they've got a sheet, 20,086.84 is the total overage.
Is that what FPU charging them?
Loretta, how much do we have left in that bond issue that's not been allocated?
It looks like it's, yesterday when I did some analysis, if you take this 20,000 out of that,
Yeah.
it looks like it's gonna be just under 100,000.
I suggest we do the same thing on this.
I agree.
Yeah, that's what I suggest. Bond issue.
Going fast.
Those last two need to be moved on to the board for,
Yes.
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 So all three,
All
right?
three, yes.
All three. So we're moving on the software, we'll move on the curb near the Methodist Church and move on William D. Jones. Thank you.
we save money on Old Mulberry Road Bridge. They estimated it at 100 and it come in, I think, at 90, right at 94,000.
Two projects that look like that actually came from.
Yeah.
That one, Hall. It looks like there's two different projects, and I'll give you the analysis next month. When we've had time to make it a little more readable. But the other one was, Old Wells Hill Road. Those two actually came in below.
Pay them.
Did they ever pave that road?
Yes,
They
ma'am.
actually came in below.
Okay.
Budget.
Well, if you have the total on what's left in that bond issue unallocated Tuesday night, so we just kind of get an idea.
We sat down, I couldn't. I'm getting old, I got trifocal glasses, and I couldn't even hardly read the print so small, and if y'all seen it, and Loretta's gonna redo it where we can actually see it.
Well, I can read every word of that for you.
Somebody needs to.
If I pull my glasses off, I can't even see it.
I can't say it with them. But, other than that, I'm 3 employees short. If you know anybody needs a job, send them our way.
You're how many short?
3.
Okay.
Wow.
You weren't short at all last month, were you?
Oh, yeah.
One,
I
okay.
need over.
That's all I have.
How is the gentleman that lost his home in the fire?
He's back at work. He still hasn't found a place to live. He's doing pretty good. Community was good to him. That's all I have.
Thank you. Next up is Chief Pendergraft for the Police Department.
Thank you, Mayor. Good morning, Board.
Good morning.
Start off with a request to fund 3 officers to attend the Cleveland Police Academy. Commander Templeton's put together a spreadsheet determining how much money it's going to cost to send these guys. Cleveland does not have a dorm, so we have to pay hotel costs for these guys to go. So the approximate cost is going to be about $35,000. We have gone through our budget and we found some items that we think we can trim some of these, so I don't see this being that much. However, they're supposed to start orientation on the 10th, so I need to get this money approved. Up to 35, I guess is what I need to say, because I don't think it's going to be that much by the time we trim some of them. We got some cleaning services in the budget that we know we can cut because we're not using that. So,
Will we have those figures before Tuesday
yes,
to know what the difference is?
yes, we have to look at. We don't know where we are in our budget right now because of the software swap over. None of the department heads know what percentage of our budget we spend. None of us know what we've got left. We're still waiting on the software swap, and Loretta's promised she's going to get us that here soon. So we'll see what has been spent, and we see what we can cut.
And I know, see at the bottom, it's on administrative, but the overtime pay and stuff like this, amend or some kind of policy change. How is overtime right now?
Right now, we are spending overtime every day. That's the thing about this cost, getting these guys in here as quick as we can. We're going to spend it in overtime, or we're going to spend it in academy cost. It's better in the long run to go on and get these guys certified and get them on the street.
What is the difference, Chief, and I don't know what we've been paying. This is 3 individuals, right?
Yes, sir.
So how much have we been paying on each individual when they go to the other kind of academy that they can stay at? What's the difference in it?
The governor just passed a grant to go to the Toledo Academy. As a matter of fact, we have one officer that's going to start that the 7th. The Toledo Academy is grant funded.
How much is it?
It'd be nothing for us.
How much would it be? It would cost.
I may be giving bad information, but I'm thinking it was like $5,000, but they have the dorms and everything to
Right.
keep the people up there. That's
So-
going to be the big difference.
So, and we've been sending, and I know that you don't have any choice. Now, I understand that. You don't have any choice. But we've been sending them to places where they can stay and all.
Correct.
So now, by having to pay this hotel bill, if it's been being 5 and it's going to be 12 now, that's a big difference.
We can't get the slots.
I know you can't. I'm not arguing.
Yeah.
I'm not arguing that fact. I'm just making a point what the difference is.
It's a big difference.
It's a big difference.
It is.
But we need to try to work some way or another to work. I tell you what we need, which we can't have. Now, I know we can't. What we need is we need an academy somewhere in southern Middle Tennessee. I mean, because like the one in Cleveland, I imagine a lot of them goes to that can live at home, live in Chattanooga, and they drive to it.
Right.
You know, we're way down here in Bedford County, and a lot of these counties down here is a long ways from the nearest academy. It'd be good if somebody get a push on for the state to build an academy somewhere down here in southern Middle Tennessee.
It would.
You know, the governor needs to be approached about that. If they can build a $45 million CCAT facility in Shelbyville State, which is good, it looks like to me that they ought to be able to take a hard look at an academy somewhere in southern Middle Tennessee to serve our area.
It'd be nice.
Can someone push that?
I'm writing a note to contact Representative Marsh. I'm supposed to call him anyway.
I mean, that would really help a lot. You know, because we're in a situation here where we don't have a choice. And if it keeps on going like it's going, these academies keeps on filling up, and we can't get our people in, this is going to get expensive.
Sure it is.
This is going to get expensive.
We lucked into getting the one in Nashville, and the next two classes, this one and the next one, are already full.
And another problem is, you know, for us as a board and for y'all too, if these people goes to the academy and they go about halfway through saying they drop out, we're hung.
Yeah.
Right.
We're hung with all that motel bill.
We don't hold their feet to the fire on the 2 years they're supposed to stay here or whatever the contract is.
Oh, it needs to be more than 2 years now. We're gonna pay this kind of funding out. It needs to be more than 2 years. That needs to be looked at.
Agreed.
It needs to be looked at and changed.
And Chief, and I guess what I've noticed here lately a lot, driving by the city hall, the city police department, is I know we're down officers, but any given time, there's 10 or 11 cars back there, not just sitting back there, and 1 or 2 officers riding around the street.
And it's because of the officer shortage. I'm not letting the...
Are you investigators, K-9, and everybody working the streets as well? Because
Sure.
that's what I was asking about this overtime. Why is there so much overtime coming up? I know we're short, but
We have to cover the shifts. And trust me, the commanders and I have worked shifts, the investigators are working shifts, the K-9 guys are working shifts,
we had the school resource officers working.
SROs are working shifts.
That's overtime for them because they're paid
Because
by
they're paid
the
by
state.
grant. Right. Because they're paid by...
But now, is it overtime or just extra money?
That's extra money or overtime. It's still, but I mean, I just don't, I guess I'm confused.
Because if they're
as
paid
why.
by the state is paying, we wouldn't be paying their overtime. Is that correct, or am I wrong on that?
Somebody's got to pay their money because we're taking we're short officers, but we're pulling other officers from other departments to work.
The
Shifts, double shifts or whatever.
the work at the school is all that the school's going to pay for. So covering the shifts during their off time, we have to absorb. Right.
So that, would that be considered overtime for us, or is that overtime?
It's for us.
Oh, that is, okay.
That's ours.
I think they've always worked holidays and time off.
But now that they're paid,
Yeah.
it's a little different scenario.
Okay, now, this, if we end up needing to come up with 35,000, whatever it is, where are we gonna pull this from?
That's what I like to know.
Here we go with that bond. And it's
Well,
getting
no,
same
we
as
can't use this on the bond issue. But I tell you what I believe we can use. We can't use this on the bond issue. No, we can't do that. But the bond issue is very specific on what you can use it for. But the American Rescue Funds that we've got sitting in that account,
She said there's only like 30.
we could probably use those funds, I'm not sure. And I would like to have some more information on that, on where to pull those funds from.
Yeah, we've identified a few things that's going to bring this total down.
Yeah. Well, that's fine. I don't hold this to y'all at all. I understand where you're at. You know, I understand exactly where you're at and why you're there. But if we can find out before Tuesday night, if that American Rescue Fund can be used for this right here, that's not a bad thing to use it for.
Public
Part of
safety.
ARPA is public safety.
It can be used.
Yes.
How much is left in there?
The last time I looked at it, it was about 80 some odd.
38.
38,000.
Yeah, 38 sounds right.
Right.
Well, let's come back with some information on,
Which would be just about what, in total.
I mean, you know, if we can use that, there's no point in pulling this out of, you know, having our tax base pay for it, let that pay for it.
Still make those cuts where you looking.
If I were to say,
Well, I think it was something that was going to be on here about looking about how to use that, maybe. I don't think that's a bad thing to use it for. I think public safety is a good thing to use it for. So maybe by Tuesday night, we'll have the numbers, you know, down pretty close.
I have them, I just don't have them in front of me.
I understand.
Chief, another question. I noticed a couple of y'all, I guess y'all's cars, y'all too. We're not, there's no money to change all this. We're just striping those two. They're the only two vehicles that are different stripes, right? We're not spending any extra money on the other vehicles, just drop the rest of them.
No, just the new ones as they
Just
come
the two
in.
new ones.
we have to strap them anyways.
Okay. No, I'm saying, but I mean, they're different. I didn't know if you're gonna make them all.
No, that's wasting money.
I'm okay with carrying this on Tuesday night and having the numbers ready to see where we need to pull the funds from.
And he needs an answer because these officers are gonna be leaving soon,
Yeah,
so
they
up to,
orientation's the 10th.
up to 35,000, and that way if you can cut in the budget, or if we're gonna take it out of ARPA, then cut, you know, we can handle that later, but
Yeah. The main thing will be where to pull the funding from.
If somebody can send us out some information for Tuesday night, then yes, that's what we're saying, is we haven't got no information on none of these amendments.
Right.
Can do.
Somebody, I mean, we get nothing from the city knowing what's going on with these amendments. I'd like to know where they're coming from with the money.
well, normally it would come through your committee, but since we didn't have the committee this past month, we didn't get to discuss this or through finance, so. Okay, Chief?
I have 4 event permits. First will be the Easter extravaganza on March 23rd. The cruise in for Junior's house on January 13th. The Martin Luther King birthday event on January 16th, and the chocolate walk on February 3rd. And I have approved all of these events for presentation to the board.
What about the Easter extravaganza? Did you mention that one too, or?
Yes.
You did? Okay, sorry, I didn't hear you. My bad.
Just housekeeping, like I said, we have one starting the 7th in Toledo. We have the 3 scheduled for Cleveland. We have one certified officer that we've hired. He is certified in Georgia, so he'll have to go through the 2-week transition school, but once he goes through that, we can put him to work. We hired another gentleman yesterday that will have to go through an academy, but he's going to be down the road, and we'll get him into the Toledo slots, the grant-funded slots. And that will leave us 2 positions open. We are in discussion with a certified officer that we're trying to get from another department that I have hopes that he's going to come, which would fill one of those in an immediate need. So we're getting our numbers back up. We got 3 months of academy time and a few weeks riding. And so hopefully here in 16 weeks we'll have a lot of new officers on the street.
Any other questions for the chief? Thank you.
Thank you.
We have David Bergman, Fire Chief with Fire Department.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Got a few things this morning. I'm going to give you an update on the department. We do have 3 openings as of tomorrow. Me and Mr. Owens are going to sit down today in the afternoon time to discuss. I've had a few of our in-house part-time volunteers show some interest, kind of know what you're going to get in that area, so we're going to probably look at those pretty hard, try to get a schedule to get those positions filled. The toy drive was a huge success this year. We were blessed to be able to serve 259 families, which equaled 534 children. This year we raised $27,931.41 towards the toy drive for next year. It'll go through it very quickly with the charges. I also wanted to thank Triad Packaging, Big G, Lincoln County Fair Board, the FPU, Elk River Media, Walmart, Dollar General, Elk Valley Times, the Exchange, the Rotary Club, and all the locations in the city that took up toys. We do appreciate that. We couldn't do it without them. The other update on the department I have is morale is starting to climb, which is great. I think people are starting to settle down a little bit. I am seeing some work from some employees that were kind of not as great. They're starting to turn, so I'm very happy about that. Just glad things are settling down a little bit for our department. And that's all I have.
Any questions?
I just have one.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm curious. I'm noticing that the fire engines are sitting at the main station now. All of them are there.
We
The
are-
bays are full, and the other 2 are out front.
No, ma'am, that's from Station 2 that's coming over. They're doing training during the day. also helping me do some cleaning and stuff like
Yeah, I
that.
was unaware, so I was just curious.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, they just come. They transition from station 2 to station 1 during the day, and then at nighttime they go back to the house.
Thank you.
That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Director Nathan Browning with Parks and Recs.
Good morning.
Morning.
First, on their agenda, the installation of electric service to soccer scoreboard. We're looking, I spoke with Ms. Loretta about this, and Ms. Loretta, correct me if I'm wrong, but we're able to do an additional cost, a one-time purchase for this for the $2,000 to get power to the soccer scoreboard. So we're looking to get that accomplished here in the near future.
So is this an agenda item, or do you have that $2,000? Or are you asking for it?
Asking for that $2,000.
Okay.
Is the FPU helping out with this as well? Is that why it's so low?
Yes.
Take it out of the American Rescue Fund. You'll have enough left. If it's enough left. If we got 38,000, I believe that's what we got in American Rescue funding. The police, this will almost close it out. Probably another $1,000 left in there. You might want to grab it where you can.
Yes, we'll take it.
Yeah. Did you get a chance to talk to Director Jones?
I did.
Okay.
Next is the Fayetteville City Schools and the City of Fayetteville MOU for volleyball. The volleyball, we're excited about this. We just need to get the MOU approved, and if it's approved, we'll be good to go. Sign-ups are set for February 17th, if all goes well, and we already have a lot of interest shown in that. So if we get that approved, we'll start making final preparations.
So we'll have the use of their gym.
Yes, sir.
How's that going to be possible, though, with everything going on with they have in the gym as far as football and baseball and...
After speaking with them, it shouldn't be a problem. They said, of course, if they have emergency or they have to use it, then they have first priority over it. But the way
This is going to be right after school?
Fayetteville Middle School,
Yeah.
the practices, they'll be, because once, I think basketball should be finished for the middle school part. And that's the only gym we'll be using. If they have to use it for soccer or whatever else, we'll take second place to that. So they'll have first priority. But after talking with the city school system, they're willing to work with us any way possible to make this happen for our kids.
And this is about a 2-month period.
Yes,
March
ma'am.
to
Yeah, about 6
the end of
weeks.
May. Mhm.
In addition, Alderman, Nathan and I have a meeting with Mr. I can't
Jones.
think. Jones, yes, thank you. On the 19th, so this will be a part of the agenda. We will discuss the logistics. So we're meeting on January 19th, and if you have any concerns about that, let us know. We'll take those with us to that meeting.
Number 3 are the increased umpire fees. We've been looking around. Of course, we're excited about this year's baseball and softball leagues. A lot of noise is being made about the excitement, and I feel very confident in this and the direction we're going. However, the excitement's gone up, so have the umpire prices. And I have looked in the past, and they've been in from $12 to $25. And I remember, I think when I was 17 years old, I was making $12 to $25 at the rec calling Pee Wee and prep baseball. So the gentleman I've been speaking with, I think you have the attachment of his prices. He's pretty much told us, hey, I'll have you people there, qualified umpires there, but this is the rate now. And it has gone, of course, from 12 to 25 to we're looking anywhere from 20 to 40, depending on what tier of official that we're going to be having. So that
Is this in your budget?
I don't think so. It's going to depend on the number of games that we have, as far as paying for them all. So at this point, it's too early to tell. Hopefully,
You're not asking for this, right?
No, sir, not at all. No, hopefully, which I'll talk about in my report about our signs for the baseball and softball,
Okay.
will make a tremendous addition to this fund.
That's what I was
And
going
also
to ask Dave. That's good. So.
And also registration, would that go toward this? too?
Yes, ma'am, registration would.
And I think these fees seem reasonable.
What about team sponsors? You know, you talked about like the boards and stuff on the backdrop and stuff, but like, as in like snowballs for a team or something, could that go into this too, or is that?
It could. A lot of that money is going toward the shirt and the ball cap for
Okay.
each individual player.
Gotcha.
We've already had businesses reaching out to us ready to sponsor some teams, so they're starting early.
Gotcha.
I did see your ad that you put out on social media, so that's good. You're already stirring the water, so that's
That's
good.
right. A lot of phone calls already.
Okay.
And as far as my report, the soccer funds that we have now, I think Chief had mentioned, we just don't really know where we are in our soccer funds. From the line items that I have come up with, we're somewhat shorter, I think, because in the past, from my understanding, we did not have a soccer league through the city for the rec department last year. That was ran through another organization, but we are taking that over. And so just a quick update on that. We're again, don't know how many participants we'll have, but we are excited to take it over, and the funds hopefully will be there. I feel like if we get into a pinch, you know, once baseball season is over, we may be able to transfer some signs and use some of that money toward the soccer facilities. It's kind of a plan B.
Is the field in pretty good shape?
The soccer field, as far as I know, it is. David Thurman actually came over and did the overseeding this year on that, so it should be looking hopefully really good in the springtime.
Do we have two different groups having to take care of that field, or just him?
In the past, it's been David Thurman. We received the bill for that for the overseed. I'm not sure what had happened before that. Prior.
I think the city has to cut it, but as far as
We line it.
maintenance,
I know we do the lining.
Yeah. As far as keeping the grass right, I think it's like Nathan said, Thurman does.
Yeah. And I know we'll have probably to address some irrigation issues once we open it back up.
What's wrong with irrigation?
Well, when we were going into the dead period, the dormant period, we had I think it's a solenoid maybe in our irrigation system, so we're going to have to get that probably looked at. It shouldn't be a major problem. Any more questions on soccer? Tables at Stone Bridge. This is something that's in the budget that I acquired when I came in. We're just basically going through quotes right now, seeing what we can find. After going through the park, there are major concerns with some of our tables, and we're looking to get those replaced. Baseball and softball sign-ups are underway. We spoke about that briefly. A lot of excitement's going on. We're looking to create a lot more buzz as we go through the springtime, to the winter months and the spring. So looking forward to that. Our press boxes, there are $12,000 budgeted for 2 press boxes. I already received 1 quote to get those addressed, and it's rather expensive. And so we're going to evaluate and try to get at least 1 more quote to see what we come up with, and we'll know more what we're looking at. But I think when the initial, it was set for those 2 press boxes, costs must have gone up tremendously.
Is it mostly? I'm sorry. Oh, you go ahead.
Yeah.
Are they local?
The first one I just received back yesterday, they're local.
Okay.
Is it mostly carpentry work?
Yes, sir.
Didn't that car hit that press?
You don't reckon the Lane County High School class would be interested in taking a look at that, do you?
Maybe.
Darren Sims?
Darren, yeah.
Call Darren and see what he says.
I sure will.
It might give him a project.
He might need one. I'll give him a call, absolutely.
Yeah.
We also got an upcoming leadership.
Yeah, there you go.
Leadership Lincoln.
Yeah.
I was really hoping to get this. I know Leadership Lincoln has a project. They adopted one pretty early in their year. Hopefully we can have something done before we start this spring. That's my hopes, to have that done. I know I reached out to Leadership Lincoln, I think the 3rd day on the job, seeing what they had available, and they're already locked in for this year. But Signs for the fence, they're underway. Went out and just personally visited about 50 different businesses. A lot of folks are energized about this, willing to help. We've already received several checks for those signs, and we're starting the process of getting those lined up and have them ready for ball season. The Blue Cross Blue Shield grant, I'm sure you've heard by now, did not go through for Kids Park. That's just informational purposes. I know in the future, we're hoping to do some upgrades and some additions to Kids Park. Our guys were able to attach a slide, and it looks good. They did a great job with that in a few steps. So we're looking to make improvements out there. Been really hoping this grant would go through, but nothing we can do about it now. And so we're looking forward to the future of Kids Park, making it better for our kids. And our Easter extravaganza, we started planning this probably about 3 weeks ago, and it's really coming together. It's looking good. We have gone through the past and seen what has been there before, and we're trying to add to that and try to add something every year. So a lot of good things coming up. I'm excited about Easter extravaganza. And that's my report, unless you have any questions.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Director Christy Gentry for Planning and Codes.
Thank you, Mayor. I do not have any action items for the agenda this month, but I do want to give a year-end report on permits. Compared to 2022, our 2023 permits was right in line. We actually issued one more permit in 23 than in 22 with 183 permits. The fees totaled $27,457 that we collected, and the total job valuation for the projects were $8,004,685. The fees and the job valuation was down from 2022, but that was because Copperweld had the two large expansions, and basically that was the difference. And then we also had Tidal Wave that was built in 22. We do anticipate some more commercial new construction projects in 24. We are already getting some calls and inquiries about some projects, so hopefully we will get those numbers back up, but the amount of permits was pretty flat. The top 3 permit categories were roofs, remodels, and fences. We did issue 28 new certificate of occupancies. That includes new businesses and or change of ownerships if the building was sold or somebody different took over a business. Wanted to thank FPU for getting the holiday banners changed out. Our new banners featuring the Camp Blunt statue, the first volunteer, is up. We have received some good compliments. I think people are liking those banners. We are in the process. There was some of the fiberglass rods that were broke, so we're going to order some because they have about 15 more banners that they can hang. So we're going to get those ordered, and then Mr. Britt's already reached out. When we get them in, he will get those immediately hung. In about 20 minutes, I'm going to be hopping on a webinar for the 2024 Home Grant to get information. They will be explaining the process for applying, the deadlines for submittal, and then how many funds will be available. We are eligible to apply again this year, and Ms. Tia, unless something has changed, they've actually upped the funds. We received $500,000 at the last grant, and I think we can receive up to $750,000 this time. It is a no-match grant. It doesn't cost the city any money. It is a good benefit to property owners who need home repairs, but it is a very slow process. We received the other grant in 2021, and it had to be completed by June of 24, so it just takes a long time to get through the paperwork, but it is something we definitely want to apply for, so I will be gathering that information. And then lastly, I just wanted to thank Jack and Jill for their hard work on the municipal building kitchen, getting that remodeled. By offering their skills and time, they were able to save the city some money. And actually, it will be more professional, more functional when we have to host lunches and other events, and it was just a much needed update.
Did you say Jack?
Jack and Jill did.
Okay, baseball field, okay. That was Jack, thank you, Jack.
So that's my report.
Any questions? Chris? Thank
Thank
you. Okay, and Director Garner for Finance.
IT.
IT, I'm sorry. I checked it off, but passed it.
Almost forgetting about me.
I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
A couple things that I talked about last month was quality of life changes that I'm doing to the website. I'm still in the process of making the buttons. I've gotten majority of them done. I have like 3 left, and then I'll be done with that. The police recruitment page, I have made the page. I've included information that was given to me by Human Resources, and if there's additional information that needs to be provided on there, please let me know and I will get that added immediately. Third thing is my Dell computers that I ordered. All the computers ran, the monitors came in, however they were the wrong model. Dell quoted and sent me the wrong model, and I just got those monitors sent back yesterday. The freight carrier came and picked them up yesterday. And so once I'm credited back the cost of the monitors, I'll be able to go and order the correct ones. And then at that point, I can start putting them in. I had a battery backup in the server room that was dying. That has now been replaced. It kept beeping periodically, basically just about every day. And also the hard drive in our security camera PC was dying, and I had that replaced as well in December. And that's about it.
Any questions for IT?
Lucas, just a quick question. I know this was mentioned a while back. Is there any update on the speaker system that's going to be coming to the square? Or?
Me and Kevin and Christy had talked about that. Was that a month ago? Or
Close to a month.
Okay.
about a month ago, and we're in the process of making a bid packet and also trying to figure out if there's any prospective people, because we had an ideal company to do it right off the bat.
Right.
But they have since closed their doors, and they were the same company that has also put out a outdoor sound system in numerous places, including Winchester. Mm-hmm. And so that's still on the table. It's just a matter of we have to make the bid process and also the basically request for proposals as far as I'm concerned.
Okay.
But it's still on the table. It's still being looked at, but it's coming.
Gotcha. Was just checking.
All
Thank
right. No, you're fine. Absolutely.
Yeah, Director Garner with Finance.
Morning.
Morning.
As he mentioned, their conversion, we finished that up this weekend, and I've now got all the balances, ending balances converted over from the old system over to the new one. So beginning this afternoon, the department heads will be getting their monthly reports where they can see where they're at. Before we had part of it here and part of it here. Not impossible to do, but obviously a little bit more cumbersome. So now that we've got all that moved over, that'll make that a lot easier and smoother. And during the conversion process, we have identified a couple of things that we will need to address in a budget amendment next month. The one being is that under the new system, the object code 999 cannot be used as an account because it is used as a, it signals the new system to subtotal in reports.
so you can't use that number. So we will be converting those numbers that end in 999, and we'll be moving them over to 992 for the most part. And next month, we'll be having a budget amendment that will move all those over. There's just, and I'm sure that we'll find other things that we have to address as we go along, that's a little bit different under the new system. That's just the most obvious thing. The second thing is that we have also realized is that up to now, when we had received reimbursement for an insurance, such as a vehicle accident, the insurance would basically pay for those repairs, and we had netted them together into one account, and that's no longer allowed. We have to report the reimbursement as a revenue, and then the cost to fix the vehicle or whatever it be, it could be building or whatever, then as an expenditure. So from time to time, from this point forward, you'll see budget amendments that will reflect, and it'll be an in and an out, but it just better reflects how much we're getting from the insurance company versus how much the whatever accident or whatever is costing us. So it'll just be a little bit better transparency, a little easier on your part. And that will be addressed in a future budget amendment. For the current budget amendment, we actually on the agenda we had them as separated, but when I did it, I made it one big budget amendment. It one thing noted in the audit, and actually the state is requiring, is that our state street aid, the expenditures, be reflected separately than before. Those expenditures have been part of street department. They're not going to change. There's not any money, additional money there. It's just that the money that is spent from those gas taxes have to be spent on certain purposes, and that this just reflects that in your budget, and that's what that first part of that budget amendment does. The second part is the I know last month you approved the basketball goal and the $214 that it was a little bit short, plus the additional $2,100. Excuse me, that the Kiwanis donated, and so that's the two big items in the or the two items in the budget amendment. And next month we'll also be looking at splitting out the bond fund out of the idle funds. Right now the bond fund is included with your idle funds, and it makes it confusing, and the fear is that we'll be, and I've seen it has happened, that we've accidentally used some of those idle funds in that bond instead of using the bond funds like we're supposed to. So by segregating them out, splitting them out in the general ledger, that will make those separate and transparent, and make sure that that doesn't happen, because those idle funds, I think Mr. Bryan has said before, that shouldn't change. Those should be.
Now, I brought that to the administration's attention. The bond funds and the idle funds, which is reserve really, they kind of got mixed up. And it wasn't that we was pulling out the wrong thing at all. It was just that the numbers was not right. So I asked them to go back and correct that, because what was going on, it was showing the idle funds dropping some. Well, they can't drop. They've got to go up. If we don't pull out those idle funds with a board vote, they have got to continue to build up. They can't go down.
Yeah. The only thing that should go through that funding without your approval would be the interest revenue
Right.
that would earn monthly. That would be the only thing that should go through that account.
So I believe once you
Without
get it
board
straightened
approval.
out, I believe what it's gonna show is, on the reports, it's probably gonna show the idle funds quite a bit more than it's been showing. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Should,
Now,
What I'm
what I
saying.
looked at,
yeah.
it looked like, and I've been working on some analysis on
Yeah.
that. I pulled everything up till back until they put those bond funds into that account. And so I pulled it all the way forward so that I can get a real good accounting of exactly how much were bond and how much should be added to those idle funds. In the next month, maybe two, we'll have that to have that split.
I had
and
asked for that to be done
analysis. Yes.
a long time before you got here. I'd asked for that to be done. It didn't get done.
Well, it's getting done now.
Appreciate it.
I don't, because it's just clearer and easier.
Right. You can't have.
Nothing nobody did
Yeah.
wrong, not
No,
to
it's
say
nothing
that,
wrong.
it's just,
The numbers is not
confusing.
right. You can't have 4.4 million a year ago in your idle funds and have 4.2 now. You can't have that. So something's not right about that.
Yeah,
So-
so I'm working on getting that, I got that,
Right.
I went through the whole, like I said, I went through last month and went through everything and saw that, everything that's come out of that account has been for bond fund expenditure, so that is correct, it's just a matter of how we reflect it on the reports.
The terminology on idle funds can be a little confusing because we recognize that as reserve funds.
Right.
Maybe the board ought to vote to change it to reserve funds.
I think I had mentioned that in a previous meeting.
Yeah.
Could
we not
Counting-
change that name?
Because accounting
reserve.
terms they're very specific on how that has to be done.
Okay.
It would be what you would be called assigned
Yeah.
funds. Because they're all designated for a specific purpose.
Well, we need to keep that fund straight because there has been in the past someone has said, oh, the city has pulled from their reserve funds to balance the budget. We've never done it. Never done it. Since I've been here, we never have. So we need to be very clear that would be untouchable, in my opinion, unless the board voted to use those funds. I think I'm right about that.
I agree. And the last thing is that we've also noted is that, and this actually came out of the audit and some of the, one of the audit findings was in the budget item and what had previously you had not budgeted for transfers. For instance, when we transferred money from general fund to debt service to pay the debt, that has to be budgeted. It was never specifically budgeted before for those amounts that you transferred. Now, you had budgeted the amounts that you were paying out, but you had not budgeted for that transfer from the general fund to the debt service fund. And there will also be some for into grant funds, because sometimes the state will only deposit into one account, that being the general fund, and then we have to take and transfer that money into your grant fund or the correct fund. So we will have to more accurately report that in our budget as part of the budget process. That had not been done previously, and that was part of that audit finding. So we need to address, and that will be done in a future budget amendment. For this month, for the month ending in November, the sales tax was actually up. It was increased about 8%. And I also did a year-to-date analysis. It looks like year-to-date we're up about 2%. So that's
that's a good thing. It's not a huge increase, but at least it's not a decrease. State share is a little bit down, but very insignificantly. So it's remaining steady. The occupancy tax, though, continues to decrease. And I've spoken with some of the hotels in the area, and no one seems to have a answer as to why that is. Certainly their rates are not gone down. Their only thinking was that maybe there were less tournaments or things like that from year to year, that sometimes varies from year to year, and that was the only thing that they could really tell me, because they really didn't have an answer either. It's not a huge decrease, and as far as total revenue, of course those items are what we use to help fund tourism activities. It's not anything that's going to impact our budget significantly, but it is something that's concerning and something but I think as the baseball and your soccer continue to grow, you'll have more tournaments and more opportunities. And with those, don't just come money into the rec. It also significantly impacts your occupancy taxes. These teams have to have somewhere to stay when they're here in town.
I was curious too. We collect off of Airbnbs and things like that.
Right.
Has that number decreased? Maybe some of those Airbnbs?
Yeah,
sold?
those have. Those have decreased. There's one that's no longer in business.
Okay.
So, but that total wasn't like $600-800 a month for all those Airbnbs. But the problem with the Airbnbs is that the state collects those, so we don't have any real control over or any way of communicating with those folks to find out what their needs are or what their challenges are that we might be able to assist them with. But because the state does that, it just pretty much takes it out of our hands for the Airbnbs, VRBO, any of those go through the state. Anybody have any questions?
You've got in this package also the budget calendar. Are
Yes.
you going to address that, or is Mr. Owens?
Do you want to, since you want to address the budget calendar?
I think you've got the budget calendar before us. We'll start working on it. As a matter of fact, after this meeting, staff will be getting together to pull this information. I'm looking forward to a productive budget season, and I really appreciate your assistance. This will be every city does things a little bit different. Although this is not my first budget process, it'll be my first budget process here. So I appreciate any suggestions, any help. And does anybody have any other questions on?
Mayor, if I'm not mistaken, I think last year the board did approve the calendar for the budget, so I think it would be an action item for approval.
Okay, so we'll move this forward to.
It will be. And probably this ordinance too. Probably have to vote on this ordinance.
Right, we'll have to move.
Yeah.
The ordinance, and then the Fayetteville City School has two there also that they'll be moving forward.
Yeah.
I think those are the budget calendar.
Pass through for us. I don't have a whole lot of information on those.
So if the board will note those dates on the budget calendar in your calendars, because there will be meetings, times we have to get together and everything, so. Thank you.
Hopefully it'll go smooth. And like I said, I'm very welcome, open to suggestions. Because like I said, this is will be my first budget process with you. And I look forward to working with you and getting a successful budget passed that works for the whole city.
Will we have that mid-year budget meeting?
I'm gonna cover that under my report.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. And then we're moving on to administration, Mr. Owens.
Good morning and Happy New Year. Before I start my report, I do want to just give a little information based on Loretta's report. I happened to run into Karen, and I can't think of her last name, but she's one of the managers at Hampton Inn, and she did tell me, she did confirm that at one point they did have some rooms offline in renovation and just services. So I don't know how much that would impact our occupancy tax, but she did confirm that they have had some rooms offline at the Hampton. So that's just for information. But starting with my report, we do have 3 oath of office we would like to conduct on Tuesday, and they will be for Loretta, Nathan, and Lucas. So I would like to ask for permission for those oath of office to be held. As far as reports, I want to give a quick report on the downtown sidewalk project. In late November, just around Thanksgiving, we were able to sign all of the contracts based on Adams as well as the city. So the contract is fully executed now, and we did have a pre-construction meeting held on December 11th, which was represented by Croy. We had a lot of representation from the city as well as Adams Construction was here. I thought the meeting was very productive. We probably met for about 90 minutes, but we talked about the contract and what to expect. We talked about utility coordinations. We had a big conversation about communication, which communications from the merchants to the city, as well as the city and the contractors and the engineers. So that was a big part of the meeting, making sure that the communication lines were going very concise and very regular. We also talked about notice to proceed. So the work date of the project will start on March 4th, which is a Monday. There's some preparation that will be done prior to that time. The days for work will be done from 7 a.m. until 6 p.m. What they're going to do, each section will be done and completed before they start the first. The first section will be on South Main Street. And with that start, we're going to have a meeting on next Thursday, which is January 11th at 1 p.m., which we will invite all the merchants that will be impacted to tell them what to expect, the logistics and all of that. So that meeting will be held here at 1 p.m. We put a lot of emphasis on merchants being here, and once we get towards the completion with that, we will go to the second session. So that is sidewalk projects thus far. Available for any questions if you have them at this time.
You were saying something about animal control earlier.
Yes, I'm coming to that.
Okay.
Yeah. So on number 5 under my report, we have the personnel policy. If you look in your package, you may see where we are recommending that we change the overtime for the police department so they can be paid per pay period that they work. As it currently exists, they have to work a whole entire month before they're able to be paid. When I met with the police department on November 8th, I remember that, November 8th, one of their requests was to be able to be paid when they worked overtime. We in the administration didn't see a problem with that. Pam did a little research with the labor laws, and we also checked in with MTS, and it was a reasonable request, but we needed to adjust that in the personnel policy so that they were asking for permission to adjust that to allow them to be paid per pay period that they work. The funding will be the same, they just won't have to wait as long. Going into animal control, we've been working very diligently to get animal control operating as of January 8th, which will be Monday. We've been doing some services now, but we fully operational as of January 8th. But prior to getting that together, we've been working on getting the van maintenance. As you all know, that the Humane Society did return the van back, so we've been working to get that properly restored. We had to apply for license through the Tennessee Board of Veterinarian Medical. The Humane Society held a license, so that meant that they're no longer our carrier, so the city and the county had to go through the process. So we did complete that. We expect an inspection sometime, hopefully sooner than later, but that was be required to come from Nashville to do that. We have worked on technology. We had to do the whole computer system over again. We have met with the Humane leadership to establish boundaries and partnerships. They're going to have an event on later this month, which we have been invited to kind of educate the public. We have been successful with ordering medicine, supplies, and food. We had a large shipment on yesterday, and in addition to receiving the shipment, I want to give credit or kudos to the Parks and Recreation because they did come and help us unload, and that was a big task. We have been able to order some large equipment that we needed. I mean, we had to reestablish everything, and that included a freezer. We had to do a wash and dry and all of that stuff. So those things have been ordered. The month of December alone, we did still have 20 intakes, even though we were doing emergency services. Laura and team, they were able to intake 20 animals and care for that. Several meetings with staff on the communication process. And I'm going to address the interlocal agreement. As of today, and one of the biggest confusions with the Humane Society is when they kept a number, so when people were calling about animal control, they would call their number, so they would get the calls. But now we will have a number, and this number will soon change, but the number will be 931-808-3151, and I will send that out as well. Starting, we will have services open to the public from 9 until 1 on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and every other Saturday starting next Saturday from 9 until noon. And bottom line, we will continue with emergency services, welfare, light patrol, and basic services. We're still on a skeleton crew right now, but we feel like we're equipped enough to do the basics. And any questions on animal control right now?
You said you had the basics. There's no heaters out there for them? There's no housing for the animals?
There are housings and heating. We do have all of that. That's included with the basics. So we do have animals housed there now.
There's heat lamps out there for them? Because I didn't think there was heat lamps. There's no heat lamps.
Not outside.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
So, and I know there's been some stuff on Facebook and Elk Valley Times and all this other junk, the county's talking about buying some property and stuff. What about all the stuff that we never bought back from them that it's out there for us to purchase?
Well, we do have an offer. We have talked with them about buying some stuff, including cages and all of that stuff. So when we met with them maybe 3 weeks ago, we did talk about that. So that is on the table. We're working with them on that to buy some of their stuff.
Because I know there was a dog picked up yesterday, day before yesterday, a pit bull dog or something that was in real bad shape.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think they have anything to put. I mean, there's no heat lamps. They have no medicine.
We've been keeping them mostly
shots.
on the inside. Mostly on the inside. Before, and now Laura's here. If you want to explain, but we've been keeping animals mostly on the inside based on the weather right now.
What does she actually need to take care of these animals now, as far as shots, housing, heat lamps, blankets? There's nothing there.
So all of that stuff we've been working on, she's able to do with the shots. All of that been the process of being taken care of over this last month. So she can do the shots and do all of that stuff now. So we work, and then we have had a little veterinarian services too.
Laura, if we can't get the heat lamps, is there any way we can get cedar shavings or we can get a straw or something to put out there?
We do have some straw and stuff,
Okay.
yes.
Okay. All right.
And the tarps are up to block the wind
Okay,
and
yeah.
all that.
It's been a constant thing. Like I said, we've been from scratch, starting over, and Laura and team have been out there even on the weekends. And I mean, they have had a lot of assistance. Even Chief have come out there to bring straws and stuff. I mean, it's not perfect yet, but
It's not, but are we doing this ourselves, or is the county pitching in?
the county is
Because I know
pitching
the county's,
in. The county's pitching in.
Okay.
I mean, even with the bigger equipments and we were having problems because it's a large undertaking, and I do not hold my tongue with saying that I never wanted to go through this again. I went through this 20 years ago, and it was a challenge. So the county they did not start as quick as first, but lately they've been helping with the phones, some of the larger equipment, so they are coming through too.
How will we communicate with the community as far as like adoptions? Are we gonna adopt out these animals?
We're working on that as well. One of the things Laura's been a great asset, just with the educational part. She brought in the process to do that. We have turned it over to the lawyers so they can give us a system. Hopefully by next Monday, if you want to adopt a dog, you should be able to adopt one. So we're working on that too. I mean, there's a lot of stuff and things are still changing, but it's an undertaking. And
But the adoption will only be the dogs that animal control take in, right?
yes.
So we're not in the dog adoption business.
We're not in the
as far
Humane Society business.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No.
So we will only be addressing the
Right.
dogs that are brought in for
Correct.
animal control.
Correct.
And, that's something I think that Laura's done really well in educating the public and trying to get
Absolutely.
this out. And we need to do more of
Absolutely.
that so they understand we are not a humane society.
Absolutely. And even when we met the week before Christmas with Hannah and Leanne from the Humane Society, we're going to still establish a partnership.
Right.
If they have dogs that we feel like adoptable, we can work with them on that. So
well, they don't have a place to house
they do
them.
not,
That's what I'm saying.
but they
no
have
place to house them.
they have a communication lines that they can
They
help
do
with.
foster
Yes.
programs.
Yeah.
Kevin, at what point, see, we've never had a full-time director before on our staff. At what point, once the city and county gets the interlocal agreement settled, at what point are we gonna hire a director to be on payroll?
I would like that to
Or
be,
somebody hire.
Yeah,
either
I would
us or
like
the
that to
county.
be immediately because that's a daily, hourly operations.
I think so too.
And even it surprised me how much activity goes on. You're right, Alderman. It's a lot of activity goes on there. So I
thought
was
she
hoping to be.
I thought Laura was the one. isn't it?
She is our acting director. Yes, but I guess what Vice Mayor is saying a permanent director, but she is.
She don't get any benefits or
Yeah,
anything.
you're right.
Right, and that's what
Right.
we had brought up a couple of months ago. She
Yeah.
deserves the benefits, just like no different than any other director.
But it's going to depend on either us or the county will end up doing the
Correct.
personnel policies and all of that. We've not decided that yet.
Correct.
Once
We're
that's
still in
decided,
negotiation.
then it's time to hire that director.
Right. Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And then from there on down, it'll be up to the director what
Absolutely.
the
Yeah.
county need or whatever, I guess.
Yeah. Yes.
So,
And because it was a blessing to even get the staff that we were able to inherit it because they knew a lot of the ins and outs of animal control. So it was very much a blessing.
so there'll have to be a pay scale
Yes.
set up for that position.
Yes.
Either us or the county, one of the two.
Correct.
Well, they pay for half no matter what.
Yes.
Yeah, they pay for
They've got to
half,
come
but
under somebody.
yeah, but the deal
employee.
is, and the reason I brought this up last month is that the first agreement that was written, interlocal agreement, had the city doing the hiring and the pay, and of course the county's going to pay for part of it. And I would kind of like to see the county do that part of it. I really would, because we're doing quite a bit, otherwise with our agreements. But either way, ever how it comes out, then we can move forward with.
Right.
And I don't think you've heard anything back from the county on that.
I have not. So if you don't mind, I would just move into that report. That would be number 7. That's right. Thank you. So We did, after the last board meeting, there were 4 concerns that we did send to the county as far as the proposed interlocal agreement, and one of them would be who would handle the personnel. I have not gotten an official word back, but I did get a call from Mayor Newman on Tuesday asking about the race, about paying. So I know it is in discussion, but they have not officially addressed what we sent over to them as far as our concerns with the interlocal agreement.
All right. So, but they're also looking at land.
They are, that's not us, but they.
I understand, but we're part of that, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, are we not discussing, why are we even looking for land? Why are they looking for land if are they gonna get their own? There's no way.
Yeah, they did that on their own, Alderman. I mean, we didn't request that. We expressed an interest in another property that they were not, but.
Yeah, but if they get on their own, how are we gonna control, how can we take care of this ourselves with the funding that we have?
They wouldn't get out on their own with that. It looks like they were waiting. I mean, if the interest was there, they were gonna come to us too.
I think we could build on what we have there. There's a property right beside it, and that they spent so much money on the concrete floors, all the new electricity. I know the building's disarray, but there's a lot that we can build upon.
It's in a floodplain too.
The new land they're looking at's in a floodplain.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, we're looking, but the property that's being proposed, that was not city encouraged. That was something they did on their own. And we did not endorse that or accept that property at all.
But I will say that the meetings that have been ongoing, in addition to what Kevin has done individually with people, I mean, we've pulled together both mayors, the sheriff, our chief of police, the fire department. You know, it's a whole team. Communications, Laura and her guys, everyone has come together on a weekly meetings to do the best that we can. It's going to take us a little while because this is new to us, but I can honestly say everybody has, you know, worked and pulled together on this. And there were some other people that came into the meeting. So, you know, this is new territory for us. So.
Yeah, but saying that, but then why are they, if we're all meeting and doing this together, then why are they looking for other property on their own, then if we're working as a team?
I can't answer for
But you said we're all
county.
meeting together and we're doing a lot of good things, but it sounds like they're pulling apart.
No, I don't think so. I think you would have had to been in the meeting to understand, and I'm not going to answer for the county and what they do. But we had all kind of just been looking around the what ifs. What if we could find a better location? What if we could find a better facility? Because that facility needs a lot. So that's kind of where that came from. And they were looking, and then as we were all looking, and when we were not for that, it just kind of.
And Alderman, I can also say that that has not been part of any of our agendas that we made. I actually have made all the agendas that we have done. They had not been. That was just something, and it was as much of a surprise to us as it is probably to you that was going to even be offered. But we were not in favor of that property at all.
If the county is considering doing this, and is it just a property and they want to purchase the property and then build a building on top of that property as well? Is that what they're wanting to do? So if it's out in the county and not in the city, I mean, would it just be a county problem instead of a city problem from that point?
I think the intent is for it to be a city and county property,
just the facility would be in the county.
Yeah, but like I said, we have not been officially approached. It was something that Mayor Newman decided to do on his own and pursue, but that has not been a concern of the cities right now.
I would like to see us get the animal control up and going as a new department, partner 50-50 with the county, and get it running well before we look at.
Yeah, get some time under our belts.
Exactly, because this is new ground for us.
right.
So we need to make sure that we are providing a good service to the public before that.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know what meetings we're going to have or anything. So I don't know. I'm just going by what they're saying. It's Facebook or the Elk Valley Times. They're the only source of information. I didn't know there were private meetings, but
to, not private meetings.
Oh, you said you met with them. I didn't, we don't hear anything about meetings other than what's on social media.
I
Out Valley
think
Time.
Kevin has given
Yeah.
reports on
Yeah.
animal control.
Bottom line is that we've been meeting just to put in our short-term and long-term plans and just trying to look at the logistics. And, you know, and this has been one of those things we probably, in the last 60 days, probably have had at least 20 meetings with different variables. I mean, like the last one was with the Humane Society and just different things. So this meetings has been ongoing for a little while.
And thank you, Kevin, for taking this. I know it's been a headache, and we certainly appreciate it. So,
Thank you all.
if nobody has any more questions, we'll move on to your.
Okay, moving on, we'll move to number 8. And that was about we just completed the audit season, and we will soon be going into a new audit. We were looking to see whether we needed to do a request for proposals under a series of time. So wanted to bring that up to the board for discussion or any concerns or questions.
Is this whether to put it out to bid?
Yes.
Is that what this is?
Technically, professional services are not required, but a lot of agencies, especially public agencies, look at, you know, doing audits for at least every 3 or 4 years. But even if you want to put it out to say these are the qualifications of the things you want your auditor to be able to do or to deliver as a result.
When would this go out
If we do it, if that's something the board wishes to do, I would suggest that this probably will go out before the next board
It needs to
meeting.
go out before?
Yes, because before going into the budget season, deep in the budget season, we start to interact with the auditors. So I would say February, early February.
We have to have a contract in place too.
Yeah,
The state requires us to,
yeah.
before, usually they're wanting in April.
So we do need to try to move forward now.
You're looking at city schools and FPU as well, who the same group is doing.
Well, I don't think we got control over them too.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
If that
we don't have.
is doing
yeah.
all three, they're all three being reported. If you break that up, I think that becomes an issue too. Different folks doing, that's my opinion.
Same auditors are doing the school and FPU now?
Yeah, they have been for years.
And FPU looked a couple of years
They-
ago at doing
they
the
did
same
this,
thing.
right.
Did not see it as a good idea, so.
The biggest drawback to change, we changed, I don't care either way. It doesn't matter to me the way we do it, I just give you a little history. A few years ago, we did change to a different company out of Shelbyville, and they did a good job. They did a good job. But the thing about it is, what we need to remember is that any other company won't have all the knowledge that this company's already got and know all the ins and outs and all. And we got a new finance director, which is going to be a challenge for her to begin with. To me, that's the only downside to changing. I don't see any other downside, you know, if we were to change, but that is something to keep in mind. But as far as whether I don't care. To me, either way, it doesn't make any difference, but that's just something to kind of keep in mind.
Anything else from the board? What do y'all want to do?
I don't want to draw any confusion right here when we are about to go into a mid-year budget meeting to understand everything. Don't want to draw any confusion between city school system or FPU either. So that time that we changed was under a new city administrator back then. He came in and felt comfortable doing that.
I just say, let's take a straw poll, see if we want to do it or not. I'm not for it.
Okay, Tony?
Loretta, I'm curious how you feel about it.
Well, at this point, having the continuity, I think would be beneficial, as Mr. Bright pointed out. because do have the history, so I draw off of that.
Okay.
Do ask questions, during the year, what is the best course of action? Do we do it this way, do we do it that way? If you have a new auditor coming in, you're gonna have to develop new, relationships, and not to say it's that difficult, it can be done. I just think that, we benefit from it here. Another issue we've got facing us and a challenge is that the state's now requiring that standard chart of accounts be used, and if you don't use it, you have to use that crosswalk. This year in our audit, that cost us $5,000. So one thing that I would like for us to start looking at in the budget process is converting those account numbers over to the standard number so that we can eliminate that $5,000 fee for the crosswalk. And we're going to have that no matter what auditor we use, because that crosswalk that the state requires now is a complicated. Basically, they take everything, all of our accounts, all our charts, and they move it over into what they want. Chart accounts they are now required. And that is not an easy process. And to switch auditors in the middle of doing that might bring additional challenges. Not to say that another audit firm can't do it. Any audit firm that is out there and is accepted by the state should have knowledge of that. So that.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
Would have that. But I just think that at least one more year is my personal opinion.
I respect that.
Yeah, that's what I said. I respect that.
Well, that's enough, not,
That's enough for me as well.
thank you.
Me too. I think she made a lot of sense.
I think she made, yeah, I think she.
I really hate to put a brand new audit company connected with a brand new finance
At
director.
least give her a year to see.
Yeah, we need to give them a little time
Comfortable
to
with
settle
it.
in.
Okay. Mr. Owens, you want to finish your report?
Yes, on item number 9, we have Mr. Wakefield, who is president of the Camp Blunt. I'll allow him to present, but this is based on the $500,000 received from the governor. So, Colin, if you got the microphone, you've been sitting for a while.
Good morning.
Good morning,
Mayor. Good morning. Board, the drainage project that's being proposed is off the corner of the parking lot of Goodwill, where you go around behind the shopping center at Goodwill. There's a lot of runoff that comes right off into the park, and we've thrown gravel down in the ditch to sort of stopgap it for the time being. But if you're talking about, wanting to have school buses come from the front of the park to the back side of the park where the Greer cabin is being built, or construction equipment and so on and so forth, or even when we were hauling rocks and logs down there for the Greer cabin project, we were having to come off the Walmart parking lot. That's not something that we want to consider sustaining, because they could cut us off at any point. Nobody said anything at this point, but we felt like from a safety and security aspect, it would be better if we rectified that drainage problem going from the front part of the park to the back with basically a large concrete culvert. It would take the water from that runoff and channel it, instead of cutting out a ditch where you can't get across it in all kinds of weather. It would allow access to the back, during the wet season, dry season, whatever. But it would also allow school buses, kids being bused back. Instead of having to walk from the front part all the way back there, we could actually drive a school bus all the way to the back part where the cabin and the other structures that we're planning on having built without having to come off the Walmart parking lot. So I think Croy Engineering is taking the lead on putting the bids out, and we'll just wait on them to come back with their estimates on what
So
it's going to cost.
what is our part of this?
So
Kevin?
I think the request is, we saw the administrator, so Camp Blunt wants to ask that we go ahead and we really go and do the bid work and do all of that process. So they're asking permission, it's their money, but asking the city permission to do the.
We just handle the bidding process.
The administrative work for them.
We're
Yes.
required with the money we got from the state for a project like this, you know, and I don't know what the dollar amount's gonna be. I heard Eddie talking about a bridge for, 100 and something thousand, which makes me think hopefully this project will be a lot less. Because the funding that we've got, Pat Marsh had indicated, it's to be used for the construction of the Greer cabin and the Petty cabin. And we're in the process of working on trying to get bids for the Greer cabin now. But the funding, the process, from what I understand, has to flow through the city,
Right.
and abide by your criteria for this kind of project.
I don't have a problem.
Yeah, it'll be similar, as same thing we did with the pavilion, when they build a pavilion.
You just need a vote Tuesday night in order to proceed.
Yeah, and also,
Now, would we pay for that and y'all reimburse us, or?
I'm saying it should come out of the funding that we got from the state.
Without having to go through us then?
Without having to go through you all. That's,
So the engineering fees would be covered by,
The 500.
I'm assuming they would.
is that the total $17,080?
I haven't been to Ramrod on this project. Eddie Hall, who's one of our board members, has been, and then Kevin, I think, has had access to some of that information as well.
So I'm just wondering if we're voting, are we voting to that?
No, we're not.
We just pay it.
It's just right. It's just
It's their project.
We don't have to put that 17,000.
Yeah, it's not coming out of our budget, it's
No,
to be there.
we don't want to tie ourselves down to 17,000.
This is kind of like, for the city school, when they
Right.
pass something through us.
FPU does the same thing.
FPU does the
Yeah.
same thing, Camp Blunt will do the same
Yeah.
thing, it's their money, they've been awarded the money, they
Right.
just send it through us. They're kind of under our umbrella.
Well, and also it provides, transparency, we're all sort of on the same page with what's going on,
Yeah.
because, we do have a partnership.
We just need to have the attorney write up whatever we need to vote on.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you all.
Thank you, appreciate it, buddy.
Number 10, as far as the Croy Engineering with the sidewalk project, that would come through the Public Works
What's that
Committee.
about?
Well, so the problem is Croy wants to charge us from one contract, and we were saying it should be from another. So it was about the bid services work, and what Houston Matthews presented was that this is supposed to come from the original contract that was made, and we thought it was the work that they had done that he wanted to bill for, which is about $1,900. We thought that should have been part of big services, and there was just some little conflict on that. And I
We didn't vote to pay him $40-something thousand extra. to oversee it.
exactly, but he was trying to bill from what was voted last March.
So you're gonna bring this through committee? All right. We're not doing anything on that.
Number 11, I think we had a big discussion about what we do for the American Rescue Funds. Right now, we're looking at $35,000 for the police academy, as well as $2,000 for the scoreboard, and that's something Loretta and of course Barry and Nathan will get together and give the board a listing before Tuesday
And
on how to
$8,000 for the
bring.
curbing up at the Methodist Church.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear. Oh, in the current.
Yeah.
Was that? I thought that was bond.
Bond issue.
That was bond.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a bond issue.
That's
Okay.
still going to.
But we still gonna give you that breakdown too.
Okay.
I was thinking ARPA was 36, I hope it's 38.
I think I had it in my, I had it in my notes. I'm gonna look at it again.
That
eat it up.
what you've talked about today is 35.
37.
was 2 scoreboards that are 37.
Okay, that'd be good. That's what we're
Well, we're gonna try to
Somebody
tighten
better
up.
grab it at $1,000.
Hold tight, hold tight, hold tight. As far as number 12, as far as the purchasing policy, we're requesting that the city of Fayetteville look at revising the purchasing policy based on what the state has done back in the last session. They moved the limits up to 25. We're currently at 20, so we want to look at revising our purchasing policy to reflect what the state is doing.
I'd say we move it forward.
Thank you, thank you. Now we're at the budget review, and to Alderwoman Small's point, we wanted to look at doing the mid-year budget on February 8th, which would be the same day as the work session. So we wanted to talk to the board to see how that would look as far as adding 45 minutes to an hour to your calendar to do the mid-year session then. But if that does not work, we can look at some other days.
So that would be immediately following the work session.
Yeah, well, to be honest with you, we even talked about whether we wanted to do it before the work session, but even after.
No, it's too early.
Too early.
No.
So afterwards, yeah.
I can't make it for 8 o'clock. Maybe the rest
Depends on the agenda.
It's hard for people. In the cold, yes.
I mean, I'm fine with it. It really depends on the agenda, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, how long that work session agenda is, because you have people getting back to work or needing to go.
Normally we do this,
Saturday?
its own meeting. It stands on its own because
Yeah.
more than likely we get into talking about the budget. We can get out here in no half an hour, 45 minutes. I think you probably need
I'd like to see a separate meeting.
A separate meeting? Okay.
Yeah, come up with something that everybody can kind of accommodate the ones that works, has to work best you can.
Any suggested dates or?
I'm flexible, people who work.
I work 8 days out of the month, so. Yeah, just pick a day I'm off.
There you go. And probably later in the afternoon to work, like Roger, has a job, and Tony and Jeff, and I'm guessing they'd rather have it after work. I don't know. I'm guessing they would.
I'm good with that.
I'm good with after work.
5,
6
6
or whatever.
would be better.
I'm all right.
Any day of the week in particular, or?
Only time I usually get tied up is on Wednesdays.
Yeah, Wednesday's bad.
It doesn't matter. I mean, I can miss a ball game or so if I got something going on.
Just look at your calendar and see
We'll
that.
send a couple suggestions.
Yeah.
Okay, number 14. One of the things I did have the opportunity to do, I did meet with the county finance director concerning not only the pilot program, but any agreements that we had with the county, the city has with the county. And unfortunately, there's not a lot of documentation that he can even find, or any documentation with some of the relationships that the city has with the county. But as far as the pilot program, he is preparing something to send to his board, which should be approved on the 16th. So he was saying there's not much we can do right now, but it's just what direction that the board wanted to go in. The commission wanted to go in as far as how they want to do the pilots. He's been asked to look for information going into 2017 about the way the pilots have been done, and it may redirect the way the county is doing things in the future. But he was saying that until they get to the vote on the 16th, there's not much information he can give on their direction on that.
So, bring us up to date on HAC, because this never came before the board, that pilot. You called Lynn Walker, he didn't even know anything. He didn't know why it was 50-50. We've been doing the pilots 50-50, which means the funding comes back into the city and county was on a 50-50 basis, right? That's the way we used to do it. Now, they pulled out of that. Now, what are they doing now?
Well,
Or have they pulled out of it?
they have not pulled out of it, but according to Director Nix, they want to determine on how they want to go into the future.
How do they want to go? What do they want to do?
He said they do not know. They want to look at research from 2017 all the way up into 2023 to see whether anybody missed. He said there's a possibility that there's been missed payments. He says they just don't know. He said they're very cloudy, but they're trying to get some sense of direction.
It came through us. We handled it. And it was set up somewhere back in Timbuktu, 50-50. We don't know why. There's no written agreements that you can find, right?
None.
They can't find any
He
written
can't
agreements.
find any, right.
But I believe what they're saying according to the Elevated Times, which was a complete surprise to me. I don't know how it got in the Elevated Times. Well, they printed it because it came to their meeting. But this never came to us as a board that there was a problem. We didn't know this until it ended up them reporting this. It sounds like they're saying since their property tax rate is higher than ours, they should be getting more of that funding back.
That's a little bit what he was saying.
Is that what he's saying?
Yes, that's a little bit of what he was saying.
But we pay that same property tax.
Right, and
that county property tax. We pay the same county property tax on top of the city property tax. So if they look at it like that, we should be getting more.
And most of the pilots are inside the city.
Yes.
I don't think Nick's realized how much we do as far as what we join in with the city county joint together. Anyway, they're just opening up a can of worms.
And I totally agree. I mean, even in my conversation
they're
with
in a
Nick,
hole right now.
I mean, this was a lot of this stuff was. I mean, he was seeking information from me as I was seeking from him. So I mean, he was not aware of some of the stuff. He was just saying his charge was to go back to 2017 and see who has been missed and whatever. So
But
he
how
was
did
doing
that
some
all get
research.
started? I mean, I was told that there's been some meetings here in the past 3 or 4 months that I was unaware of, that the county came over with those concerns and met with you and...
Not in the last few months. The county came and met with us in November 22.
About what?
Just starting the pilot program. They started in 2022.
Oh, they started being concerned about this in 2022.
Right.
So it's been a while.
Yes, I mean, they came and met with, actually even before the previous mayor left.
But you don't know what's caused it to come back up.
I don't know what caused it to come back up, but I've been told that it was based on some of the revenue shortage, but I don't know. I mean, one of some of the
revenue shortage, they're looking for money.
Yeah, and I have not gotten an official word, and I did.
But we're doing so much 50-50 with the county.
That's what yeah.
See, the county is 80% population, and we're 20% inside. But we, like, you just use 911 as an example. We do 50-50. But 911 serves 4 times as many people as it does in the county as it does in the city. That it's opening up a whole. It has the potential for opening up some places that we don't need to go.
Right.
We've been getting along too good with the county. And we also, the mayor just asked me a little bit ago, and I won't get into detail about what she asked me, and I understand why you asked that. But she also, because she came on after the fact on some things that's gone on sales tax agreements. The city on two particular agreements has given up millions and millions and millions of dollars to help the county, of our sales tax dollars, to help the county build county facilities. Not just one time, but twice. And I'm talking millions of dollars. We gave up that city sales tax in order to help county do that. We get to use of those facilities, but we pay county taxes. We would get to use of them anyway. I just can't see why. I can't see why it's all fluffed up over this pilot issue that we've been doing 50-50, when on the city side, in solid waste, could really get into some issues if we go digging in that solid waste. There's a commissioner over there that had it right. He was quoted in the Elevated Times that he had it right. Need to be careful with the city, because the city helps us with a lot of different issues. They go overboard to help us. It's pretty well the comments that he kind of made. I don't understand I don't understand why we can't just go on doing 50/50 on the pilots and be done with it, and go on doing everything else like we're doing to help each other and be done with it, instead of stirring all this stuff up. I don't understand that.
Well,
But maybe-
also, we're in 50/50 with the IDV board,
That's
you
right.
know, and the
Yeah.
industrial park, I mean, that's 50/50.
On what's inside the city. We are.
Right, right.
Right, we are.
So
And-
you would think the pilots would be.
Yeah, we've just worked so good with the county over a lot of different issues over the years, to where the city's been over backwards in order to help the county to build a courthouse, and I think to build a jail probably part of it. And just one issue, I wish that they just let it go and go on doing like we've been doing and get along and help each other without getting into a picking contest. I wish that the whole thing would just go away. That's what
Or
I
at
wish.
least address us, come and talk to us
Right.
before it's in the paper. That would
have helped a lot.
That would have
Yeah.
helped a
That would
lot,
have
and
helped a
I
lot.
did speak with the
Yeah.
county mayor, and, you know, and I said, you know, we would have loved to have known this was coming about.
Sure,
We didn't know
I mean-
anything about it.
And that is also the message I took to them as well. I don't know their motives, I don't know anything, but I did ask Director Nix as well as Mayor Newman before anything like this hit to let us know first, so
Right.
we would know how to respond.
I didn't have a clue. When I read it in the Elevated Times, I thought, what's this about? Because I didn't really even know how this pilot had been being done, because it never came through our board to know. So I didn't know. Right now, we're dealing with the county on the 50/50 on the animal control. Well, 70 to 80% of those animals coming in probably is going to be from the county. But we're still willing to do the 50/50, it sounds like. So I don't understand. I don't understand. It's kind of like we kind of got kicked upside the head sideways. You know, I don't understand that.
And I was gonna ask, I mean, isn't the county's the one required to have animal control? City's not required at all.
Well, that's be above my pay grade. You'd have to ask the
I
man
believe
leaving down there.
that is how that is.
I don't know.
And that's muddy water too,
Yeah.
as far
I don't
as
know,
the
but-
laws on that.
I don't know about that.
And then we have the library.
Well, I tell you, I'm glad you brought that up. When I was on the library board, because we don't have an agreement with the county on the library, we just contribute whatever we want to, and they contribute whatever they want to. When I was on the library board, I saw some spreadsheets and some state statistics that showed different towns and different counties and how the libraries was funded. Overwhelmingly, they're funded by the county, either by the county, or a lot of them is on ratio, depending on how many residents you have. Like, we got 20% of the residents, we would, if it's like that, we'd be doing 20% of but we're probably doing about half and half. And we've not had any disagreements over that. So, and on top of that, we pay county taxes. We pay county taxes, so we're getting double dipped on just about everything we do. We pay county taxes and city taxes. So I don't know why they want to come against that one little issue when there's so many other things out there that they can stir a big pot up about it. We don't need to get into a tit for tat with the county government. I wish they'd just back off and leave it alone.
Well, in my opinion, the whole pilot program to me is just a joke, but that's just me, and that's my opinion. So, but I mean, hopefully we can figure it out. Hopefully it can get situated.
Well, the pilot program is the one little incentive that the city and county does. We don't do the big incentives like a lot of towns does. We simply give these factories a tax break, and it's not a full 20-year tax break if that's how long the pilot is. It's so much per year. Well, the upside of that is helping get people working and getting the jobs for the people that they can spend money here, and we get their sales tax. Us and the county get their sales tax. And it's kind of a trade-off.
Well, and see, with you saying that, but it's like if you get that trade-off, but you have a business that comes in and stays for 2 years and doesn't pay their first amount of taxes, but yet closes their doors. I mean, we're out we're out that tax dollar. Am I correct on that?
We are for that period of time.
For that period of time, and that's money that we could use, but yet they come in and they close their doors and leave, then where's that leave us?
But you have to
Well,
have
we
an
have
incentive
to have some incentive, though. We have to have.
If you don't have any incentives, they don't come in, they don't leave out.
You gotta have something.
We lost our business.
I think our program's okay, but I think we make money on it in the long run. But I just don't like this, I don't like this, I don't think this is a big enough issue for the city and county to have a problem about. That's what I think.
We've been working well together, and
Yeah, it's working
a
good
lot of
for all
people
this.
have, commented that the city and the county are working really good together, even more so now. So hopefully this will all be addressed and taken care of. So, Mr. Owens, do you have anything else?
No, unless there's any questions, I've said enough.
Me too.
Oh, I do have a question. We talked about a date for strategic planning.
We are meeting on that today or tomorrow and planning that. We have talked
Any
about it.
suggestions? Well, that's
What month are we planning on doing?
we were started looking at late January. We're just getting. I would say it'd be
Maybe send something
fair,
out, give us
fair
option of
February.
dates or something, because it's gonna be all day on Saturday?
It was February the last time, was it not?
It was March last time.
March?
Mhm.
It was late.
It was March last time.
Okay.
So we're meeting on that this week, so.
Maybe
Listen.
if the board could get some information on how that's gonna be run and the dates and things like that.
Get you.
Okay, and then if nothing else from you, Mr. Owens, we'll move on to item I, and that's Board of Zoning Appeals appointment. I will be bringing forth a recommendation for an appointment of Kayla Hampton Gentry to the Board of Zoning Appeals. This is a board that rarely meets, but it's a very important board. It gives the resident, the homeowner, the property owner, the option, if they do not agree with a zoning, or if they have a problem, they can appeal a decision. And so this is a 3-member board, and it's a 3-year term. Kayla is a local realtor here in town. She's very familiar with the zone. She's very familiar with the properties. And I think having someone like this on that board would definitely be an asset. So I'll be bringing her forward on Tuesday.
Who's going on? Joe?
Joe Smith.
Have you talked to him?
I have.
Okay.
I certainly have.
Yeah.
And one other question, I was going to go back on this personnel policy change. Is that something that needs to be voted on by
Yes.
the board? Okay, so we'll
Yes.
need to move that one forward too,
Yeah,
Pam.
thank you.
I don't think I said that. but-
Thank you.
All right, any other questions? If not, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you.